Saints, strangely close to Daniel Jones from the Giants. Daniel, is that you? Beat the Chiefs. Show me. If the Broncos and Russell Wilson can show me that they can beat the Chiefs, then I will start believing.
And the crowd up. And so are this defense, and Kansas City won't snap the ball again. The Denver Broncos have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs.
Dave Montgomery on the Lions, former Bear, gonna make this his revenge game for sure. David Montgomery gets the touchdown that ices the game. No! And there's a flag. There's flags. There's flags. There's flags. There's flags. Snap. Hold. Kick.
Denver wins! Denver wins! Let's go!
They open. No!
What happened? Oh shit.
America is football. Football is
America is
America.
football. Football is America. If you don't like it, you can kiss your candy ass.
For the moment in time, I'm giving 10.
Oh my god.
No!
You loved it.
30 to 27.
No!
Chiefs win. Chiefs
No!
win 30 to 20.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Only Football Podcast. Boy, do we got a football game. Second quarter is kicking off, and it begins with a punt, which is going to be returned to the 26-yard line. We got points, baby. 13 to 10. I think that's a lot more scoring than people thought. What is that, 23 first quarter points? That's pretty incredible, considering the struggles that both of these teams have had offensively at times. I'm coming in blind right now, so I got a little bit of catching up to do. Try to figure out how did they score the points. Are they running the ball? Last week against Denver, they only ran it. Saquon Barkley had 5 carries in the entire game, which is insane. We got Nick in the chat. And Hurts goes down, kind of a sack. He got back to the line. We got Hat on Fire in the chat. We got Liam in the chat. Nick, he's just waiting for the Broncos to get the dub over the Eagles, and he's back, baby. I thought you wouldn't be live until 9:40 later. Oh, no, I must have screwed up my start time. I caught the start. Can't believe it. It's a miracle. Miracles do happen. Need this one. Kid's mom pulling some shady because she is in her feelings, hurting our daughter. I need prayers, my guys. Jinja, Lord, you know what Jinja needs. I pray that you would protect him and you'd be there for him. Give him strength in this time of need. In our weakness, you are made strong. Amen. I hope it gets better. Nick, Jackson Dart's been cooking. That is something that was not on the card, but this is great. I'm hoping that Jackson Dart throws for at least 150 to 200 passing yards in this game. Jalen Hurts, 3rd and 7. Now, imagine a scenario where the Eagles, 3rd and 7, Hurts looking, firing, caught, and it's Devontae Smith. We got Daniel Berry Sports in the chat. What's up, Daniel? Happy to have you in here. It's going to be a good day. A good night. It's going to be a good night, Jinja. So get ready for one of the better games of the year. I'm feeling it. This is going to be good. Hurts is 8 for 9, 94 yards in a touchdown pass. He's going to fake the handoff this time. Now he's rolling, firing, caught. And that is A.J. Brown. After all of the stories that we heard about him not being happy, we saw him going to A.J. Brown early and often in the Broncos game. But then in that second half, the whole game kind of got away from Philly. A.J. Brown started getting targets, and consequently, they ended up losing the game. So this is one of the things I was interested in coming into this game was, what is this relationship between Hurts and A.J. Brown going to look like after last week? Here's 1st and 10. Great pocket. Great time. Now it's Jahan Dotson who makes the play. This is a game, if you're a Philly fan, you wanted after the Broncos game. I can only speak for myself, but when my team loses, I want to play the next day. You know, I can't wait to get that loss out of my mouth and, you know, correct the universe. And that's what the Eagles have today, an opportunity. But with that comes an opportunity to lose to the Giants. And then that can make things really interesting because I think it's uncharted territory to have a 4-0 team that is, I mean, there's literally people saying, fire Nick Sirianni. That's unheard of to win a Super Bowl, go undefeated, win 20 of your last 21 games, and yet that's how people feel. But I honestly get it because I don't get the firing stuff, but I understand the frustrations. The Eagles are very, very lucky that they have an undefeated or had an undefeated record. It is not because of anything that they're doing great offensively. And we'll talk more on that in a minute. There's Dallas Goedert. He's already caught 6 passes in this game. Have we seen a hefty load of Scatabo? This is a really good offensive drive. Really great offensive drive for the Eagles here. Uh-oh, here comes the tush push. Now, we've seen 2 weeks ago the tush push. Oh, no, the ruling on the field is a first down, so no tush push necessary. No tush push necessary. All right. And we got embrace the struggle in the chat. What's up, E-Dub? Nick, I feel you have had a pretty nasty case of the COVID over the last week, but I'm on the upswing now. The up and up. I love to hear it. Love to hear it. Hate to hear the COVID. Love to hear the up and up. 9 minutes, 45 seconds, empty backfield, stacked wide receivers, and A.J. Brown 1 yard short. And that usually is when it's time for the old tushy push. Is it going to be marked on the 1 or the 2? Sirianni is just he's got an unlikable face. I don't know how to explain it. Like, he just looks like somebody that finds the bad in everything. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Here's 2nd and 1. Hurts rolling out, rolling, firing. Incomplete. Trying to get it to Barkley in the end zone. Now it's 3rd and 1. I don't know why Philly is getting cute here. You're on the goal line. It's 2nd and 1. Now it's 3rd and 1. I mean, you're a running football team. You can't pick up 1 yard. Your offensive line versus their defensive line, Saquon Barkley, you can't get 1 yard. I mean, yeah, they're going to just tush push here because they know they'll just do it again on 4th down. And there they go. And that is going to pick up 85% of it, if not 90. So now they just run it again. What's going on? All right. All right. So referee signals about a foot. They're going to call it 4th and inches. Looked like a lot more than inches on the referee, but all right. I mean, it's less than a yard. And there's no visual way to say less than a yard than to say inches. I thought that's why short existed, right? 4th and short. There's got to be something that's not it's not a yard, but it's not inches either. I mean, I think after I think after 6 inches, you should be saying short. Scatabo has 0.9 fantasy points, so no, LOL. Damn. I was hoping that would be a little bit better. Here comes the tush push. And he's got it. It's just truly unstoppable. I mean, I don't know why they don't just run that play again on 1st down. Run it on 2nd, run it on 3rd, and score on 4th. I mean, if you even get to 4th down. Well, why not? Why even take a chance of running? Wait. That was a false start. That was a blatant false start. Look at that. What? No, okay. Push. This time they go down. I got to say, though, this play, as much as I'm not interested in banning it just because people don't know how to stop it, I don't think it's good for football. Simply because it's boring. It's a boring play. And here's the tush push again. This time it should be a touchdown. There it is. Touchdown. Very exciting stuff there from Philly. You run the same play 4 times in a row. You know, the Eagles didn't run a single tush push against Denver last week. They never got close enough. And I was pointing that out going into the Broncos game, is this team is like heavily reliant on a big play. They need a 60-yard, a 70-yard, a 50-yard pass. And they scored against us. They got, 10, 17 points against us. But there wasn't a single like 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1. It never, I can't recall a single time. It was either, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, or they, had a 50-yard touchdown play. There wasn't many opportunities. There was not many short yardage situations in the game. All right, A.J. Brown's got 30 yards already. Or, no, he had a 30-yard reception. Scatabo has 9 yards rushing. Okay. Devontae Smith, 24 receiving yards. Saquon Barkley without any receiving yards so far. Now, who scored the first touchdown? Jalen Hurts scored 1 touchdown, right? Who scored the other touchdown? I'm trying to see. It wasn't Scatterbo. Oh, it was Jackson Dart. I had that. I had anytime touchdown for Scatterbo. You got it. Baby, you got it. Wan'Dale Robinson already has 3 receptions, 0 for Theo Johnson. That's an interesting one. 0 receptions for Cam Scatterbo. Now, he's had over 5 in 2 of his last 3 games. They've been going to him. Theo Johnson, 0 yards. So it looks like Wan'Dale Robinson has been the guy. Because Dart scored first. And there's an injured Giant. So here comes the extra point. And he drills it. 17-3. And can Jackson Dart keep responding? That's the question. Can Jackson Dart go punch for punch with the Eagles? You guys watch culinary shows? All right. This game is in New York. Here we go. Get ourselves a banner up here. And good return. Good return. So 13-17. $6:49 to go in this first half. The Eagles had the ball that entire second quarter. Until now. They're going to hand it off to Scatterbo. Scatterbo is going to pick up 3. It's a big game. Big game for that young man right there. And they're going to run it on first and run it on second. That's Tracy, who's back from an injury. I was literally running to get here. So I'm like still sweating. Third and 6. Not great, not terrible. Scatterbo in the backfield. He's going to roll out. Caught. Lil Jordan Humphrey. I love him. Dude, Lil Jordan Humphrey's a baller. That's Sean Payton's guy right there. He's been with Sean Payton for most of his career. Fakes the, now just going to take off and run. Jackson Dart fakes the toss and picks up 9. Ooh, Quinion Mitchell has a hamstring. And I think he suffered that last week. Scatabo. That's a big time hit, right? Is that Cooper DeJean? That's a big time hit. 5 rushes, 18 yards. And here's a quick throw. It's Wan'Dale Robinson and Russell Wilson doing high knees on the sideline. Jackson Dart can move. Yeah, that was an impressive run. Speaking of former Broncos, did you see Tim Patrick's? I did. I didn't know that until yesterday when he dropped that ball he should have caught. And I was like, Tim Patrick's in Jacksonville? What are you doing over there, buddy? How did that not make the news? I didn't. I mean, man, talk about a guy that just got a raw end of the deal. There we go. That's what I want to see. Theo Johnson. I want to see a lot of Theo Johnson. He was really, really reliant on Theo Johnson after Malik Neighbors got injured. So I expected no Cam Scatabo on this 3rd and 4. They're going to go with Tyrone Tracy. 3rd and 4. I love the way the Giants' offense looks, man. Here's Jackson Dart firing. That's a big time catch. In forward progress, he should. Is that Jalen Hyatt? Yeah, Jalen Hyatt. I've been wondering about him. They kept him on the bench because they didn't want to risk him getting injured. Here we go. And they're going to go right back to him again. The fans look at him as a bust, but he's not even getting on the field. I mean, look at the circumstances it took for Jalen Hyatt to get on the field. Man, I can't help but think how much Bill would love this right now. 2-minute warning. There was literally 2 drives the entire second quarter. Isn't that crazy? The Eagles had the ball, and now the Giants had the ball, and the whole second quarter is gone. 1 possession each. That seems very unusual. We got little E in the chat. What's up, little E? What's up, brother Nick? Brother E-Dub? What's Gucci, Mr. Every Line I Say Crafty with a dog from the South Paw? I love it. Lil E, how are you doing, man? How is everything? Are you living in Montana? Where are you at these days? Saquon Barkley, 0 yards receiving. Wan'Dale Robinson has 62 yards receiving already. I think this bet's going to hit as long as the Eagles win by 7.5. Because all I need in the second half is A.J. Brown to have 2 more catches, 3 more for Devontae Smith, 12 more rushing yards for Barkley, 2 catches for Barkley, and a Barkley touchdown. So, second half, I need Barkley to get in there. That's a $180 payday. Here's Jackson Dart. 2nd and 4 on the 23-yard line, approaching the red zone. They're going to fake the handoff. Now, Jackson Dart. Wow. 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 What a play by Dart. What a play by Dart. Look at he looks so comfortable. That's just a great football play right there. He's got that Bo Nix pocket presence. He looked like Nix. Are we like getting spoiled with these quarterbacks coming out of college lately, or what? Scatterboat inside for 5. I mean, we got only one quarterback selected from the 2023, or I'm sorry, the 2024 NFL draft. We only have one quarterback that we're not sure about. Like Caleb, Penix, Drake May, and Bo Nix are my like Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, and Drake May. I'm sure are going to be great quarterbacks for a long time, like a Drew Brees, a Ben Roethlisberger. Like those are franchise quarterbacks for the foreseeable future. Caleb Williams, I think Caleb, he's good enough he's good enough where he's going to be in the NFL for a long time. To what extent, I don't know. Is it going to be like a Sam Darnold thing? Is it because people don't realize how much the NFL changes? Like when Baker Mayfield was with the Panthers, and it was just like looking like his career was on the over side. If I would have told you, like, yeah, the MVP race in 2025 is between Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, you'd be like, how? So, like, anything can happen down the road. Here's another run. Scatabo is going to bring it within 1. Let's see if Philly gets aggressive. Yeah, Philly's going to use the timeout here. But if they can't stop the Giants from getting a first down here, the Giants can just run the rest of this clock out, go into halftime with a 2017 lead. This is really big, and I expect Vic Fangio to bring pressure here. Nick, Dart looks better than Justin Herbert. As a rookie, or like last week. Do not tell Rick I said this. Caleb Williams, in my opinion, is on track for a Tua-like career. Your secret is safe with me, Nick. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you on that. I'm not sure about him. There's just something that's just not like franchise quarterback about him, in my opinion. And I feel like, Bears fans are just like so defensive over it that they like can't see it because it's like there's different personalities. I'm fine with different personalities, but Caleb's I'll put it this way. I like when quarterbacks are like Jalen Hurts is very like cutthroat, just like Baker Mayfield. Like you get up and like draw on your face. Like I feel like Caleb's just like in his feelings. Like Caleb's like the Drake of rappers, right? I want a little boozy. I want an easy E. I want someone that's actually a gangsta rapper. I don't want a studio gangsta like Drake. I feel like that's the best way to say it. Caleb Williams is the Drake of rappers. A lot of hype, some good material out there. There is some good material out there. Undisputedly, good material is out there. A lot of bad stuff out there too. Here's Jackson Dart, end zone, incomplete. How did he drop that? Caleb gives me journeyman QB energy. Nick, I think Caleb Williams will be way better than Tua this year with the way Caleb Williams is playing. What he had 200 yards against the Raiders. I guess that's okay. I mean, they did get back-to-back wins. But. Hand off, Scatabo, get off of me. Touchdown. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. So get off your heads and throw your hands up. Jackson Dart has arrived. And Vic Fangio's defense is getting, dare I say, humiliated. This looks like the best game of the year for the Giants. I don't want to take anything away from the Giants because the Giants looked really good on that drive. I'm just saying, this is crazy. Now watch, Nick Wright's going to be like, see, the Giants beat the Eagles. The Broncos aren't good. Even the Giants could do it. He refuses to acknowledge anything good that happens because he's a Chiefs fan. Here we go, 8:28. 20-17. You got to love it. I mean, you don't have to, but you should. It's pretty cool. I'm going to turn the comments on the side. Scatterbo shredding the Eagles, D. A short prime like Tua. I think I'm trying to think who would be a good example of Caleb. It would have to be somebody that had, an unreal amount of hype. Okay. Now, usually the guys that have an unreal amount of hype aren't busts. I'm trying to think. I'm talking about your like Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, John Elway. These are the type of quarterbacks that you're like, he's the safest draft pick, historically, maybe ever. These type of players, has one of those ever been a bust? I'm going to look up the biggest sure thing bust. Caleb Williams is Jamarcus Russell. I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh, he drops it. Now he's going to try to pick it up again. And oh my gosh, he's going to go down to 9-yard line. And freaking the Giants still have both of their timeouts. And now the Eagles are pinned at their own 7-yard line. So wait, a touchback is at the 20-yard line? I am putting an end to this once and for all. What is the new NFL kickoff landing zone between the goal line and the 20-yard line? Any kick caught or landing there must be returned. Got it. Okay. Here is Barkley. Well, there we go. There's my 12 yards. Barkley is going to get it in the first half. That's why people are taking out the kicks. Okay? I get it now. I've been wondering this all year. And it took me a 1-second YouTube search or a Google search. No timeouts for the Eagles. They're going quick. No huddle here. 2nd and 1. Snap. Hurts looking, firing. Caught. There's A.J. Brown again. A.J. Brown starting to get rolling here. Jalen Hurts is looking really good today. The Eagles their defense has been sus, but offensively, this is the best the Eagles have looked all year. First and 10, incomplete. Goddard. Well, something. Huh. Yep, there it is. Here we go. 2nd and 10. Hurts. Rolling. Just throw it away. Live to fight another down. Here we go. You guys notice that my camera looks more clear? Here we go. 3rd and 10. The Giants just called a timeout. What do you mean explain that? They didn't like the defense they were in. Maybe the Giants aren't scared of the Eagles. Maybe the Giants were more concerned with the defensive personnel they had out on the field. I mean, that could have been a scenario where the Eagles or the Giants were like, this could easily be a touchdown if we don't fix it. I don't have a problem with it. They're like, yeah, but they could have lost 5 yards. And the Giants were like, yeah, we could have lost 7 points. Like, 3rd and 10. Keep in mind, no timeout. So it would have to be a quick spike if they complete it. Hurts dropping back 5 steps, stepping up in the pocket, going to take off and run. He's going to juke and slide after 8 yards, 9 yards. He's got to go quick. What is he doing? He like got up and was, what are you doing? That's it. That's the end of the half. That is the worst management I have ever seen. Not true. I saw the Bears on Thanksgiving last year. That is one of the worst Jalen Hurts moments I've seen in my life. By far the worst Jalen Hurts moment I've ever seen. You got to know how much time's left. The Giants called a timeout. You had an extra minute to know how much time you had. Then you run, you slide down, and then you get up like it's a regular play. Like, honestly, he just like got up, looked like he was looking towards the Philly bench. He's like, oh shit, we're in a hurry right now. I totally forgot. I got to hurry up. Then instead of just like giving the ball to the ref and spiking it, he goes in shotgun formation. Like, what are you doing? I've never seen Hurts look like that. He should go get checked for a concussion. That is not the Jalen Hurts I've known for the last 4 years. I haven't seen him do anything remotely close to that. I've seen Dak Prescott do it. I've seen Caleb Williams do it. I would not be shocked if Russell Wilson did it. But Jalen Hurts, that's weird. We got Dakota Martin in the chat. What's up? Just found this channel. Yo, everybody, say what's up to Dakota in the chat. Dakota's the man. He came in on a fantasy football episode, and he's been coming back for the last couple streams. So show some only football hospitality. Thanks for coming back, Dakota. What do you think of this first half, man? The Eagles outplaying the Giants. I mean, what the heck? 20 points, 37 points scored in the first half of this game. The weirdest thing about the second quarter was only the Giants and the Eagles had one possession, and then the Eagles had that very last possession with, less than a minute or whatever it was, but the entire second quarter got eaten up by one possession for each team. Now, both teams were able to get a touchdown, so they made the most of their sole possession. But I can't remember the last time I saw a game where that was the case. But that's a good thing because that means there's not a lot of penalties being called. There's not a lot of incompletions. Usually that means like both teams are playing good football, and that is the case right now. I got some bets in today. I got one bet in that is, I think, $700,000. Now, if that one hits, if one of these $100,000 ones ever hits, I am not kidding when I say I'm giving all of Lil E, D-Rock, Nick, KC, Dakota, anybody that's like active in the chat that day is getting a stack. And if you guys think I'm kidding about that, like, yeah, that's what everyone says until they get the money, you have no idea how serious I am. I don't look at money like that. Like, oh, I get more for me. Like, if I win some real money, I'm giving it to whoever's in the stream that day. Not all of it. That's what I'm saying. There's like 13 of you guys. If I win $100,000, it's like, what's 13? Scatabo, 1 touchdown. I have a bet in for him to get 2 touchdowns. Same thing with Brian Thomas Jr., Roma Dunze, and Kamani Vidal. Now, fantasy football wise, if you guys are wondering about what to do with the Chargers running back situation, a lot of people are saying to go for Haskins. They're saying Haskins is going to be the guy, but we don't have a big enough sample size of the Chargers without Amari and Hampton. We only had 2 possessions, and they went with Kamani Vidal, and then they went with Haskins, and it was pretty much a 50-50 split. If you go off like body size, it's like, okay, Haskins is going to be your short yardage guy. I mean, but it's all speculative. And I'm going to give you my edge, okay? This is just me doing research and trying to find an edge here. Because I wanted to pick one up on waivers, but I wasn't sure which one to pick up. And we don't know. We just don't have the stats. And, of course, Harbaugh's not letting any information out there. So the way that I kind of came around to going with Kamani Vidal is maybe not that crazy. Jim Harbaugh coached Kamani Vidal at Michigan. And that was pretty much it for me. Like I was on his Wikipedia, and I saw that he was at Michigan from 2018 to 2021. And I was like, I'm pretty sure Harbaugh was at Michigan for that time frame. And I verified that he was, and I'm like, okay, so, I mean, he obviously has a relationship with this player, okay? Enough to say, hey, you haven't gotten a chance in the NFL yet. Let me at least put you on my practice squad because, we have a relationship. So I'm going to put you on my practice squad. Sean Payton's the same way, right? Will Jordan Humphrey, Trotman, our kicker. He's got a handful of guys that he just really likes. And he keeps them on our practice squad. And sometimes we lose them. Like in this case, Will Jordan Humphrey was on our practice squad, and the Giants picked him up. That was unfortunate. But, at the end of the year when the Giants are done with them, Sean Payton will pick him back up. It's kind of like home base is with Sean Payton. And from there, he's been elevated to our active roster. But we're just too deep right now with talent. So Will Jordan Humphrey is somebody I just anticipate being on our practice squad every offseason unless another team signs him to a big contract. But coaches do form relationships with players. And if you have a guy that has been an unknown mystery player that nobody knows in the NFL, yet Jim Harbaugh wanted to have him on his practice squad, it's not a coincidence that he played for him. They have some sort of relationship where he's like, I'm gonna give you a job. You're gonna be on our practice squad. You're gonna run our scout offense, whatever the case is. But now that Najee Harris has been hurt, and then you get another injury to Amari and Hampton, if you're 50-50 on these guys, like the whole world is 50-50 on them, Haskins and Vidal, who to go with, I'm going to go with his buddy. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go with the guy that has an emotional interest. And like, if I'm totally wrong about this, well, it's all speculative. So, I could be. But since we have nothing to go off of, I feel like it's not nothing that he played at Michigan. Sweet. Is that real, Dakota? Sorry, I don't want to. I'll unclick it so it's not so Just waiting to see a comment come in. I hope that I'll just hold off on. Oh man. Sorry to hear that. Oh, I wish I had something profound to say, but I don't. For what it's worth, Jinjo was in here earlier today, and he right off the bat was like, "I need this. My kid's mom's pulling some shady shit." Um, the one thing I'm trying to say is we talk about football a lot on this channel, but we're also there for each other. Like I think there was somebody on the channel last week that was asking out his girlfriend. I think it was Nick who wanted to ask out a girl, and he was like, I don't like her like that, but I'm like, you obviously do because you care enough to tell us about her. What I'm trying to say is like we have we take an interest in each other's lives and we take care of each other. We check in with each other, and we're a real community. So like that's one thing you're going to get here is that community aspect. And you can always come in here and just be like, I had a shitty day. I'm going through whatever it is. And, football is the common ground that brings us here. But from there, it branches out to other things. So, thanks for entrusting us with something that intimate and probably hard to talk about. But yeah, if I ever do hit big, man, I definitely would love to help out. And Lily, Brother Dakota, my advice is keep that faith that everything's going to be all right and do everything you want to do now. We all love and support you. Love that comment, Lily. Love that comment. Love that. I have Ginger's contact info. I just don't know if he wants me giving it out. Actually, I just met Ginger in real life. Did you guys know this? Were you guys on the podcast? Where is it? Here we go. There it is. Now keep in mind, this was after the Broncos game, so I was not happy because, we just lost to a penalty. Lost to the Colts because of a penalty. I took this picture actually right where I was sitting, and you can really tell by this picture that there's not a bad seat in the house. There's really not. Like, I was very impressed with the stadium because the tickets were so cheap. They were like $40-$50, and I'm thinking, no, these are going to be bad seats. And then I get there and I'm like, these are good seats. Here, this was us. Me and Ginger meeting in real life at the Broncos-Colts game. Great time. All right, here we go. Second half, kicking off. Abel looks like the lead singer of Zac Brown band after he lost weight. Here we go. Here we go. Quick throw to Scatabo. That's what I'm talking about. I had him catching 5 passes, and he didn't have one in the whole first half. So I need him to keep throwing to him. I need him to throw to him. I need 5 catches. Come on. 4 more. 1 down, 4 to go. 2nd and 6. And they're going to run it to him, run it with him, and he's going to pick up 3, 4, and it's going to be 3rd and 2. You know, one thing about, the Giants and beating the Eagles is you have these plays that are an extension of the running game, but they're pass plays, but they're, the success rate is about the same as a run. And here's going, caught. No, he dropped it. What? He dropped it. Damn it. Come on. Oh, damn it. Damn, you got to catch that. Man, the margin of error is insane, right? That play right there now resulting in a punt. And they're going to be a fair catch here at the 11. So, man, a 3 and out. What a bummer. Is there anything more disappointing than having 2 successful plays and then somebody drops the ball and now you have to punt? I mean, that's what happened to Denver on their opening drive in the game. Oh my gosh, unnecessary roughness on Philly. They're on the 11, so what? They're going to be on the 6? That's crazy. So I went back and watched the Eagles game, to prepare for this. I went back and I wanted to see, like, okay, what went well, what didn't go well. This whole story about, like, they were doing really bad, and then all of a sudden the 4th quarter happened and Bo Nix flipped a switch. I wasn't buying it because I'm like, that's not what happened. Like, only people that didn't watch the game would say that. You know what I mean? Because that's not the way that the game actually went. It was much, much, much more, complex than that. And I'm going to send this to myself. Let's see, copy. Trying to paste it before I lose my phone. Sent. And my phone's getting ready to die. Here we go. Okay, yeah. So it did send. So I'm rewatching it, and I'm like, okay, the first drive of the game, you had a 3-yard run. 2nd and 7, you had a pitch to JK for 3 yards. And you're like, okay, just like that Giants drive, you're like, all right, we're feeling good. 3rd and short, and Cortland Sutton drops it. And it was tight coverage. It was very similar to how that play looked. It wasn't an easy catch, but it was one that he should have caught because it was a perfectly thrown ball. And it killed the drive. And, man, there were so many drives that were like that. I mean, I got to the end of the first half, and I'm like, okay, there was 2 plays in the whole first half that were bad drops, and there was only 1 play that was just a bad throw by Nix in the whole first half. A lot of the other reasons that we couldn't score had to do with drops, had to do with penalties. And like I said, if there's one thing that I came away from that game thinking was like the margin of error is so slim when you play against good teams like the Eagles. Like those drops have to be catches. Those penalties cannot happen. You have to clean that stuff up. Now, we didn't quite do that and we still got the win. But it's not always going to be that way. I mean, luckily we have an incredible defense to lean on, but it's the self-inflicted wounds that are the most upsetting because it's like we didn't even get stopped by the Eagles; we stopped ourselves, and I think that's how Giants fans probably feel punting the ball on that last drive. It's like they're hard enough to beat without giving them a little help. They don't need any help. Here's another run on 2nd and 4 after picking up 6 on first down. And I like that they're going back to Barkley. It was kind of weird. Like Denver just loaded the box and the Eagles weren't even trying to run it. I mean, like I said, 5 carries the whole game for Barkley last week. Momentum killers. That's exactly what they are. A penalty on Philly. Miracles do exist. Let's go, G-Men. Long live Bill. Yes. This one's for Bill. Big 3rd and 6 here. Hurts looking, firing, downfield. Oh, my God. He overshot Devontae Smith. That would have been a touchdown. That would have been a freaking touchdown. And we saw this last week in the Denver game. There was a play where it was, I believe, A.J. Brown, and he's wide open, and Hurts overthrows him. That has to be caught. That's exactly what I was just talking about. That, I feel like the best teams in the league, they minimize those moments right there. So after the second quarter goes completely, pretty much the whole quarter goes away with just 1 possession for the Eagles and then 1 for the Giants. We've already had 2 possessions in the first 2 minutes and 52 seconds. Oh gosh, that one must hurt. That one has to hurt. Jalen, what was that? Truly. Here we go. Man, that was a little Jordan Humphrey again. Man, Jackson Dart, he's throwing with a tremendous amount of confidence. And, like, the Eagles, they appear to be, like, right there. I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up throwing a pick because he does play aggressive. He's throwing the ball in an aggressive way, but not in a dangerous way. I'm wondering if he's going to pay for one of these at some point today. Now, I wouldn't tell him to change anything. The best quarterbacks in the NFL throw interceptions because they believe in their arm. There's a window that's only this big. I can get it there. And a lot of the times they do. But once in a while you misjudge or, you think that you're capable of doing too much. Here we go. Handoff, Scatterbo, first down. And a flag comes out. Penalty-free game. That's why that second quarter was able to get eaten up. Another flag on Young, the Eagles. Yeah, the official was right there for it. AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Still disappointed about that drop or that missed throw. Oh, going deep. Flag is thrown. Denver picked on Ringo last week. The Giants are doing it now. Yeah, Ringo, he struggled last week. And that was the reason when Denver went for two. I forget who it was. I think it was Dan Orlowski. I think it was him, but he was like, I think if Denver on that two-point conversion didn't have Ringo out there, they would have checked to a different play. But they just wanted to pick on Ringo. Dart with the keeper. Gain of 8. Let's try and get this. Here we go. Now it's going to be third down. John Michael Schmitz. Sounds like a Christmas jingle. John Jacob, John. I think if you're Russell Wilson and you're seeing the success Jackson Dart's having right now, like, what is he doing? Like, I feel like if I was Russell Wilson, it's like he doesn't need money. He was benched. I would be like, trade me to another team, or I'm retired. Like, I have no interest in being a backup quarterback. Like, I could be in Paris right now or something. You know what I mean? Like, what's in it for Russ? Like, I'm shocked that he's entertaining the back. Like, I get the Kirk Cousins thing. Like, he's not married to Sierra. You know what I mean? Like, why is Russell Wilson still doing this? I don't know. I really hope they throw a halfback screen to Scotabo. Hmm. One sec. All right, 3rd and 3. Jackson Dart, shotgun. Scatabo in the backfield. Get it to him, get it to him, get it to him. Oh, you had him. I think he got it. Nope, first time. Jackson Dart, dude. You love to see it. Go into the end zone. That's pass interference, right? No? I thought it. I thought that was going to be PI. Incidental? Wow. Man. Look at that. Here we go. Giants looking to take a 10-point lead on the Eagles. Touchdown. No, that was a touchdown. No way. No way he was stopped short. It wasn't even close. Yeah. Of course. Touchdown. Oh, that's great. That's great. My Cam Scatterbo to score 2 touchdowns went through. If you want, you got it. If you want, baby, you just bust a move. Booyah! I haven't heard booyah in a long time. Probably since watching Breaking Bad. It's a funny word that we used to say, booyah. Booyah! Words are funny, man. Words are so funny. Maybe some would disagree, but I know there's a couple people that know what I'm saying. Just like the idea that certain syllables put together can be good or bad. All right. Guess what? The Giants, how are they only plus 168 to win? When Denver was down, what was it? Denver was down 14 and they were plus 1,700 in the second quarter. And I went, that's crazy. I'm like, that's absolutely insane. What is it? Jahan Dotson and you mean location can't be. Location? Settings. Where is my general about VPN not connected? All right. We ready? Can they hold this lead? That's the question. Can they do it? 1st and 10. Takes the handoff. Looking. Hurts. Caught. Got her. That was close. That was close to line of scrimmage. Here we go. Hurts, looking. He has so much time. All the time in the world. Looking. Caught. Sideline. A.J. Brown. Honestly, that was an insane grab. That's an insane grab. You know what's crazy? Look at that. No, that's a catch. Yeah, he had possession. The Giants are going to challenge. The ball didn't move. That's a catch. That's a catch. The ball's allowed to move. Oh, really? It's a clear loss. Well, I find that shocking because I thought the ball moved a little bit, but I still thought it was a catch. Huh. Man, Devontae Smith would have had that touchdown grab. That would have been crazy. There's been gaping holes in the back end. What the hell? Sometimes I swear they're doing it on purpose. Gaping hole in the back end. Calm down. Here we go. Hurts. Wow. Gets away from the pressure. Somehow turns what should have been a 3rd and 15 to a 3rd and 7. It was Kybor's phrase in Teen Titans. Oh, they're weird. I got it and have thought it. I was thinking, woohoo, ha, by Busta Rhymes and ODB. By the way, Dart high-fived the ref after the touchdown. Never seen that before. I love it. I missed it. I didn't see that. Day words backwards and think about how it sounds. You could easily be that instead of what they are. Say words backwards. Yad, stole. Oh, Hurts. Can he get away from? Can't. Sack. Lunch. Brian Burns. Florida State. Man, Florida State has a lot of talent in the NFL right now. Brian Burns. You got Jared Verse, Jalen Ramsey. What's the receiver's name? The receiver for Buffalo. I'm blanking on his name right now. Tied Nick Benito for the lead. This is going to. Oh. Well, they're not going to call a flag on that. He went out of bounds and then got popped. Uh-oh, DMX. Proving that English is a hodgepodge of languages, Ginge. Lunchtime. Working theory. The Bo Nix mind broke the Eagles defense. Ooh. Well, let's see. The Broncos defense. No, you're saying that we were so good offensively, we broke. Well, we did that to the Falcons last year. Remember 38-7? Oh, by the way, I forgot to post that. Hold on. Yeah, let me switch. We're gonna switch webcams here. This is my webcam. So, iPhone, pair device. Hearing. See. Pair device. see. There we go. All right. We're going to start this drive. Caught. Here we go. Oh, Jackson Dart. And you got to be thinking, like, at some point, look at this iPhone. This is the what is it? The Air. It is like a quarter the size of or no, for comparison, here's my finger. This is just a pointer finger. Here's my pinky. It's half the size width of my pinky. Isn't that crazy? Here we go. Jackson Dart. Caught. Oh my gosh. What a hit. What a freaking hit he took. Who would have thought that Jackson Dart would be sticking it to Vic Fangio? Here's another throw and catch. Wan'Dale Robinson. Let's see. Dart going for it all. Oh. There we go. Tyrone Tracy. Only 4 yards rushing so far. 3rd and 3. Tracy's in the ball game. Oh, delay of game. Oh, they're calling a false start. Here we go. 3rd and 3 goes to a 3rd and 8. That's a huge penalty. Here we go. Got it. Theo Johnson. Let's go. Theo Johnson. That's his second catch of the game. He now has 27 receiving yards. Let's go. Here we go. Dart. And this time he doesn't get back to the line. Oh, Dart's down. And that's why Russell Wilson didn't go anywhere. Uh-oh. Oh. This is not what Giants fans needed right now. Oh, he's took a shot to his jaw. I wouldn't be shocked if this is a jaw injury. I've broken my jaw before. It's not fun. If this is... He's stretching his leg. Uh-oh. Russell Wilson. Which sucks, because if Jackson Dart went out there and the Eagles came back and won, like, you would be like, this was still a moral victory. And they would say there's no moral victories in a loss. This would 100% be a moral victory in a loss. Because Jackson Dart looked awesome. So he could afford to lose in the fourth quarter if the Eagles make a comeback and, like, you know, he would be fine. But now Russell Wilson, if Russell Wilson is the quarterback and it happens, then, you know, he's not going to have that same, the same grace. Now the Giants or the Eagles are plus 285 to win. I'm going to bet it. I'm going to bet the Eagles win this game. $10 wins 50. Yeah, I'll take the Eagles. Russell Wilson coming in the game. Honestly, it felt like the Eagles were going to come back and win this in the fourth quarter, even if Dart was healthy. I felt like it was going to be a 1-point victory for the Eagles, like a 31-30. That's my final. And now if you're Dable, you just got to figure out, like, how do we not lose this game? Russ comes in, throws a pick six right away. Dable's going in the blue tent. Tracy's going to run it here. Gain of 3. Imagine that fan out there that just gained consciousness now. Like, they've been watching the games, but they've been too young to know anything. And they go, who's that Russell Wilson guy? Who's this guy? I know nothing about him. Is he new? Is this his first time starting? 3rd and 9. And oh my God. What the was that? What the hell was that throw? Yeah. By the way, Dable, this is a very bad look. Your quarterback's in the medical tent, and all you care about is getting him back on the field. Like, I get it, but you can't be like that. I just put another $10 on the Eagles. Sorry. Yeah. I knew Jackson Dart wasn't coming back in this game. Sorry. If it wasn't, I mean, what are we doing? If it's not about player health, player safety, then why are we doing all of this? You know, if it is about player health, player safety, he took a big enough hit where he was on the ground for 2 minutes, right? Just because of a head injury, he couldn't get up for 2 minutes. Just because he got up and jogged off, doesn't mean that the damage isn't already done. So it's like, I just don't see how you can throw him back in this game. And for Dable to be arguing with the, medical doctor, it's like, look at him. He's like, what do you mean he's got a concussion? Not a great look, Dable. You're allowed to feel these things, so you're just not supposed to show them. 2nd and 10. And they're going to run it again. Dude, somebody... Oh, my goodness. Okay, Jackson Dart out of the tent. Oh, good job. Smack him on the head. That's a good... Okay, I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a very controversial series of events. It's only a matter of time before somebody clips these series and puts them in an order that is going to make it onto the internet, and it's going to get very popular. The Jackson Dart taking the big hit, being down for 2 minutes, going into the blue tent, Dable going into the blue tent, having to get kicked out of the tent by the team doctor, Dable then walking over to the team doctor and chewing his ass out. Then Jackson Dart finally coming out of the tent with his eyes low, like he just smoked a doobie. And then Dable smacking him in the back of the head, like, okay, you're good. We're doing this. The internet's a funny thing, man. These moments, and 30 years ago, none of this would be the case. But the way things are now, things are different. And now the Giants are getting the ball back, right? And this is the, let's see, this is going to be the Giants on this drive. Here you go, Jackson Dart. Win probability for the Eagles, 12%. Now, that's why I bet the Eagles. Third and 12, and Barkley not able to get the first down, unfortunately. He was able to pick up 85, 90% of it, but it's 4th and 2. And that's a bummer. I honestly, I in my head, I thought the Eagles were punting it, and that's why we went to the commercial break. I didn't realize they had an opportunity. So here we go. Punt. And this is a big boomer. 22 to the 34, 35. All right. And it's crazy. Russell Wilson comes into the game, and he throws one pass into the dirt. And this place boos the crap out of him. I mean, that's got to be rough if you're Russell Wilson. Like that's got to hurt a little bit. I think the Giants are going to have to punt on this series. Eagles are going to get the ball back quick, I think. They're going to hand it off here. Scatabo, gain of 2. Third QB in NFL history with 50 rushing yards in each of his first 3 starts. Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts are the other 2. That's not bad company, right? Second and 7. Hyatt saying he caught it. Yeah, they're going to wave it off. How many amazing catches has Jalen Hyatt made today? Or I guess in this case, almost made, but you're telling me this is a guy that doesn't deserve to start? Come on. He really needs to see more playing time. He is making ridiculous plays. Tipped. No flag. And a punt. All right. Sweet. Just won $6.50, which paid for my Eagles bet. Great job. Great job by this Philly. What is going on? Buffering. No, of course, right when I click it, it comes back. There we go. All right. Russell Wilson, seasoned veteran. Russell Wilson's cooked, so whether or not he's seasoned, I don't know. Jackson Dart looks like a legit QB. Agreed, D-Dub. He'd be a great addition to the Phillies. That man might get them over the hump. I agree. Yeah, he's pretty good, Randy. Wilson throwing a pass directly into the ground sums up his post-Seahawks tenure. I know. It's so funny that ball was so bad. Like, why did it have to be that bad of a throw? Why couldn't it have been just like, I don't know, anything better than that? That was so bad. That was so bad. Oh, that was terrible. That was straight up terrible. All right. Devontae Smith only has 24 receiving yards. Let's get Devontae Smith going. Let's get Saquon Barkley a catch. All right. I want to see Saquon Barkley catching some balls. Not seeing him catch many. And Devontae Smith's been open. We've seen Devontae Smith open downfield. Two more catches from Theo Johnson. All right, let's go. I want to see some Devontae Smith. We're back. I want to see Devontae Smith. I mean, he's been open. Get him the ball. Throw it to him. No more running on first and second. I want to see a pass. Fake it to Barkley. Get the ball right here. You got the motion. You got the matchup. Get it to him. There it is. Yes, Smith. Thank you. 15, just like that. Let's go. Dang, I never realized Max Crosby was almost entirely covered in ink. You didn't? That's like the one thing people know about him. I'm just kidding. But seriously. Here we go. Hurts. Looking. Going downfield. Pass interference. There it is. Pass interference. Everyone marching down towards the infraction. There it is. Honestly, pretty good defense. But he's got to get his head turned. And if he gets his head turned, this could be an interception. I honestly don't know if that one should have been called. It looked like a pass interference, but when you really watched it, it didn't. It didn't. In slow motion, it didn't. Here we go. Hurts, quick throw. Dallas Goedert, and he's going to pick up 10. Ooh. They're going to call it a first down. Here we go. 15-yard line, 1st and 10. Hurts looking. Nobody. Oh, you got a receiver down. It's A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown kind of slow to get up here. He's okay. He's up. A.J. Brown's okay. Oh, they waved it off. There is no foul on the play. It should have been illegal contact. That's what the rule expert says. A.J. Brown's not even going to sit out a play. Here we go. 2nd and 10. Quick throw. Interception. All the way down the sideline. Can Barkley catch him? Barkley catches him. Wow. Saquon Barkley with a game-saving tackle. All right, now would be a great time for me to double down on my Eagles bet. Here we go, $10 on the Eagles. Now it wins me $78. Yeah, because if the Eagles hold the Giants to a field goal, they just need 2 touchdowns. There's still 11 minutes in this game. They get 1 touchdown with 7 minutes left in the game, and you're down 1 score with 7 minutes left in the game. Like, I think sometimes people don't realize how unsafe these bets are. Now, does it feel? Don't do it. Don't do it. You guys did this shit last week, and it cost you the game. You remember the Broncos game? Was it Zach Bond who did it? When the whistle blows, stop. Disciplined players win championships. You want to repeat? You want to go back? Stop making boneheaded plays. When the whistle blows, just stop. They teach this at the Pop Warner level. False start on the Giants. The Eagles seriously need some Kung Pao shrimp. Sorry, E-Dub, but I love to see it. The Eagles are still going to win this game. I'm telling you. They're going to win it. They're going to find a way. I mean, Dable, do you like your quarterback? Because you'd think that he would, I don't know, keep him safe. I'm not saying don't run it with him. Like, it's his style. I get all that. But it's like you're just trying to maintain a 10-point lead. Like, maybe try to just, call a little less designed runs. Rusher coming. Dart. Throwing up. Incomplete. Perfect coverage. What? They're calling this a flag? Wow. That's crazy. This is the same thing they did last week when it comes to picking on. Damn, that's pretty tic-tacky. Tic-tacky, scat-about-a-bow. Give scat-about a ball. Can we get 3 touchdowns for Scatabo? How about 3? Scatabo. 3. I had 2. I didn't have 3. I had I had 2 on my bingo card, but I did not have 3. Now let's think about this, okay? 24, 17. So they would be up 17 points with the extra point. Do you think Shedeur Sanders would be playing this well? Remember all the crap the Giants got for drafting Jackson Dart? All the horrible things that they were called for not taking Shedeur Sanders and deciding to draft Jackson Dart? Because apparently there was teams were conspiring. I think we do this with players all the time, whether it's Kaepernick or we want to make things more than what they are. I say it, and I'll say it a million times. If you're good at football, you will find your way to a starting field. It doesn't matter what your character is. It doesn't matter whether you're the Brett Favre or Dan Marino was a notorious partier, so much so that his agent was told that teams in the NFL wanted to piss test him and inquire about his piss test while he was in college at Pitt, because he had that reputation. Did that stop the Dolphins from drafting him? Of course not. Of course not. Like, that's not the way it is. Like, we don't. The people that think like the NFL is, because the commercials, they always try to be like, what, we do the right thing all the time. Yeah, but Deshaun Watson's in the NFL still. Like, I don't know. It's just, all I'm trying to say is if Shedeur Sanders was really good at football, he would be starting on a football team. That is all I'm trying to say. If Shedeur Sanders was better than Jackson Dart, he would have been drafted higher than Jackson Dart. And, when it happens, we don't have a sample size of what we're seeing right now. We don't. So those stories and narratives, they can exist because we can't refute them because we have no data to say Jackson Dart's better. But today was a great day for all of the people within the Giants programs that were called a lot of terrible things because they didn't want to get Shedeur Sanders. Today is the day where they can go, what do you think? You still think I made a bad decision? Or maybe I saw something in this kid and I thought that he had more upside than Shedeur Sanders. That's why these moments are important. Is there a miracle in the Meadowlands, number 4? Oh my gosh. The Eagles just dropped it. out of bounds, the kickoff. All right. So no, the game's not over yet. And actually, I'm going to see. Can I bet on the Eagles here? Plus 4,000? Yeah. Give me $5 on the Eagles. Plus 4,000. We're going to do a Devontae Smith touchdown as well. Here we go. 1st and 10. 1st and 10. Eagles, quick throw. Gain of 7. Yes. All right. Let's go. Let's go. I just quadrupled down on the Eagles. Incomplete. What is 600? Okay, if the Eagles win, we're looking at around $1,000. Do I think it's that crazy? Let's see. They got to score a touchdown. They got to score a touchdown in, I'd say, the next 3 minutes. They're going to need one big play, right? It could be a pass interference. It could be a lot of things. But first, they're going to need a first down here on 3rd and 3. And here's a dump off to Barkley and out of bounds. That's not going to come close. They're going to have to go for it. They have to go for it. I think you have to go for it. I mean, it's not the end of the world. If you don't get it, you hold them to a field goal. Either way, you need 3 scores. Yeah, but if you're going to go for it, don't take 40 seconds to decide. You're huddled up at 15 seconds. Like, come on, Sirianni, you should know if we don't get it, we're going for it. Snap. Hurts looking. Caught. Devontae Smith. They got to go quick. Let's go. Where's the urgency? Line up. Come on. Got to go. You need a chunk play. You need a chunk play. A.J. Dillon checks into the game, the ex-Packer. Here we go. Hurts looking. Firing. Caught. Dallas Goedert. And this is what the Eagles needed. Honestly, they should send out the field goal unit right now. Send the field goal unit out. Kick it. 7 minutes to go. It's a 14-point game. They're gonna not do that, and they're gonna go for A.J. Dillon. He fumbled the ball. No. Yep, they're gonna call it a fumble. Wow. The Eagles are gonna lose this game now. Wow. I feel like that's the mistake they can't overcome. I felt like they could overcome everything until that point. Edub said they don't have it. No, like we've seen this so many times, and yet people still give up on their teams. Like when I said Denver was going to beat the Eagles last week, I'm not just saying that. I'll tell you when I think it's over. If this is the Giants' ball, Giants are going to win. It was like the Bills game. I'm like, they're playing the Ravens, and they're down, multiple possessions in the fourth quarter, and I'm like, if you're a Buffalo fan, like, how could you ever leave a game with 5 or more minutes to go in a 2-possession game? Like, you could just never do it. Like, if you're, I don't know, Cleveland or the Bengals lately, I could understand why you're like, yeah, we can't. But the Eagles are one of the teams that they can get a 60-yard touchdown. The Eagles, the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Broncos, because they can not only they don't have that big play a lot, but their defense can get strip sacks and interceptions, so you can steal a possession on defense, and you can get really quick 3-and-outs. Like, if you have a really great defense or a really great offense, or just a guy like A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, like, this is nothing. Like, the Eagles can come back, and I still believe that. If this is still going to be Eagles' ball, which I don't think it is. I thought his knee was up. Yeah, so it holds up. Now the Eagles need a 3-and-out, but they're just going to run the football. They're just going to run the ball. All my $1 bets on the Eagles. And there goes Scatabo. The Eagles aren't just losing right now. They're getting humiliated. I mean, we're talking about a must like 3-and-out, have to have it, and they run it down the middle for 30 yards, 20 yards. How does that happen? Scatabo, 72 yards on the ground. Clock down to 6 minutes. Scatabo again. Another first down. 2 first downs in a row. And this is going to be one of those moments where when this game's over, you're going to hear Eagle fans out of the locker room going, it's gut check time. It's gut check time for us. We need to decide what kind of team we're going to be, because this is what I have been saying since before the Broncos game. The Eagles are the worst 4-0 team maybe of all time. Historically, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it is actually incredible how bad the Eagles have been, and yet they continued to win. Here's what I wrote on – I wrote this on Friday night. If you look up which teams – now, this was before Week 5, the day before Week 5. So I was talking about Week 4. If you look up which – I'm just going to read you how I wrote it, okay? I didn't perfect it or anything. It's raw. If you look up which teams had the least amount of rushing yards in Week 4, the teams ranked in the bottom 12, so 20 to 32. Those 12 teams went 2-10. Taking a look at the 2 teams who won, we only have the Bears, who ranked they ranked 31st. They only had 69 rushing yards when they beat the Raiders. And then you had the Philadelphia Eagles, who ranked 24th with only 88 rushing yards. Okay, those are the only two teams that won out of the bottom 12 in rushing yards week 4. So let's take a look at how the Bears and Eagles pulled it off. Passing yards, question mark? They must have had a ton of passing yards, right? No. The Eagles had 112 passing yards, was actually ranked 28th in week 4. The only teams worse were the Saints at 29, the Bengals at 30. They were playing Denver. The Titans at 31, and then the Giants, who were ranked 32nd. That was Jackson Dart's first game. He only had 69 passing yards in that game. So, unsurprisingly, 4 of those 5 teams I just named to you lost. Surprisingly, the team in dead last, the Giants, they were the only team that won. 89, not 69. Jackson Dart had 89 passing yards. They were ranked dead last in passing, yet they were able to get the win. So what's going on here? How did the Eagles remain undefeated when they only had 88 rushing yards and 112 passing yards? I mean, the Giants had the lowest amount of passing yards, as noted, with 89, but they finished 8th in rushing yards. They had 161 rushing yards in Jackson Dart's first start. The Bears won a game ranked 31st in rushing yards, but hey, they finished 15th in passing yards with 202. So the bottom 12 teams in rushing yards, like I said, went 2-10. The bottom 12 in passing yards went 5-7. So of the 5 teams that won despite finishing in the bottom 12 in passing yards, you have the Giants, the Eagles, the Detroit Lions, the Jaguars, and Miami. But none of those teams finished in the bottom 12 in rushing yards besides the Eagles. So we have a clear rule here. If you finish in the bottom 12 in rushing yards and happen to win, it's because you did well passing the ball. If you finish bottom 12 in passing yards and you happen to win, that's because you ran the football really well. The only exception was the Eagles. The Giants finished 8th in rushing yards. Detroit finished 20th. Jacksonville finished 11th with 152, almost tied with the Chargers at 151, a yard away from being in the top 10. And then Miami finished 17th with 123 yards on the ground. So again, the Eagles won last week in a very unorthodox way. I'm talking about week 4. I'm not picking an off week either. Going into week 5, the Eagles are actually ranked 30th in total yards. Let that sink in. Cleveland, Miami, Houston, Carolina, New Orleans, the Saints, for crying out loud. These are all teams with more yards per game than the Philadelphia Eagles. This was not the recipe last year. The Eagles finished the 2024 season ranked 8th in total yards per game. And they were 2nd in rushing yards per game with 184 rushing yards per game. But what people don't remember about the Eagles last year is that the Eagles finished 30th in passing yards last year. The only reason it wasn't a glaring weakness is because they were running the football better than 31 other teams in the NFL. When you're able to dominate in the running game every single week, you're able to dominate that game. That's why out of the bottom 12 performances in passing yards, you have 5 winners still. You know? You only have 2 winners out of the bottom 12 in rushing yards. So you can have if you had to pick one, we can only be good at one, rushing or passing. Rushing is going to get you the victory, right? Passing, it's easier to be in the bottom 12 in passing and still come away with the win, right? 5 out of 12 in the bottom 12 still pulled off the win. But for rushing, it was 2 out of 10. Okay? So rushing is crucial. It's essential to run the football. As a matter of fact, if you had to pick one, you are going to be terrible at, and it would not be rushing the football. Okay, I wrote that kind of weird, but you get what I'm saying. Okay. Last year's proof that you can almost be the worst passing offense in the NFL. And as long as you can run the football better than 31 other teams, you can win the freaking fracking Super Bowl. The Eagles are passing the ball statistically the same as last year. Now that's what's crazy. Everybody's saying, like, what's going on with this, with the passing game? Statistically, they are very, very close to where they were last year. The difference is their running game has gone from an untouchable force of nature to mediocre. Literally, they're ranked 15th, which is the definition of mediocre, with 113.5 rushing yards per game. So the question remains, how are the Eagles undefeated? How are they winning football games? How are they number 2 in ESPN's power ranking? Is there a reason A.J. Brown sent a cryptic tweet after the Eagles went over Tampa, suggesting he wanted to be traded after the Eagles won over Tampa? That was a big deal, right? Then he had to come back and clarify what he meant. The Eagles are undefeated at this point. They were 4-0, but not all is what it seems. And A.J. Brown would know. He has 2 games with under 9 receiving yards. They were 5 for 14 on third downs against Tampa Bay, 0 for 1 on fourth down. They punted the ball 7 times. They had 8 penalties for 83 yards, over twice as much as Tampa Bay, who had 40 yards in penalties. How are the Eagles defying odds? How are they having all of these offensive struggles and remaining undefeated? That was the question that I became more and more obsessed with, almost, because there's no example of this happening to any other team besides the Eagles. In week 4 of the NFL season, teams ranked in the bottom 12 for rushing yards, 20th to 32, collectively posted a dismal 2-10 record. The 2 exceptions, the Chicago Bears and the Raiders, against the Raiders and the Eagles. Like I said, the Bears, they pulled together a 15th passing ranking at 204 yards passing, I believe, while the Eagles are ranked in the very bottom. Okay. It is wild. And my conclusion was that the Eagles' undefeated start to the 2025 season is a testament to their ability to win unconventionally. And it's because of the blocked field goals and the blocked punts. That's like the easy answer. All right. When you look at like blocked field goal rate, blocked punt rate, the Eagles are number 1 in all of it. And their blocked punt against Tampa was the reason they won that game. So the Eagles are winning because of their special teams and blocked field goals in these kind of miracle-like plays. It reminds me exactly of the Chiefs last year. Remember, the Chiefs were undefeated. Even the Broncos drove down. They're getting ready to kick a 35-yard game winner, and it gets blocked. And it's like, the Chiefs done it again. And it's like, done what again? Got lucky? That's how it felt. And then you realize, like, no, there's no luck. Like, they designed that block. But Jalen Carter, this defense, if you need a blocked field goal, there's nobody that you trust more than the Eagles to get it done. That is the only area that the Eagles have been dominant. Because up to this point, this Eagles team has not only been they're Super Bowl hangover, they're not what they were. Guys, we are so much further beyond that. The Eagles are one of the worst offenses in the NFL, period. And that is what the stats tell you. Week 1 and week 2 stats, they're not worth a ton, right? Because, one game, it's like, okay, we're at week 5. This is week 6, technically. Stats are, we have clear trends now. And if you're ranked that low, there's something awfully wrong. And right now, the Eagles are ranked 30th in yards per game. They're ranked 30th. I mean, for all of the struggles that the Giants have had in the multiple quarterbacks they've gone through, obviously it's a weird time to bring this up because this was their best game ever. You know what I mean? Like in recent memory. I can't remember the last time I saw the Giants look like what I saw tonight. I can't. Even in Eli Manning years, like we're so far removed from seeing anything like this from the New York Giants. I guess I would probably have to go to Daniel Jones's playoff win on the road against the Vikings, where he played incredible. But this was one of those what do you call it? Not a statement win, because it was a statement, but it was so much more than that. It was a signature win. It was a signature win for the Giants because now the Giants have answers to questions that used to be hope and optimism. I hope that Jackson Dart's the guy. I hope that he works out. There's flashes of something that looks like a franchise quarterback. That is all over now. And I said the same thing about Daniel Jones after the Vikings game. And people go back to it and comment on it and be like, this is hilarious. You thought that Daniel Jones was a good quarterback. He might be an MVP. And I'm not saying this to pat myself on the back. I'm saying it to bring up a much bigger point that I think a lot of times I've been trying to find a better way to say this, but when an NFL quarterback goes out there and has a game like this, you can't get lucky in football. And it's like my favorite quote is from Fever Pitch, where he goes, that's why I love baseball. You can't fake it. In other areas of life, like you can fake it. You could be a faker, not football. But he says, not baseball. You either can hit a curveball or you can't. And what we saw from Jackson Dart was one of the best games I've seen from a quarterback out of all the quarterbacks this season. I mean, Philly brought an all-out blitz. He hangs in the pocket, throws a perfect ball that's almost caught to Jalen Hyatt in the back of the end zone. The ball placement was unreal. And yet it was the ball placement that drew the pass interference because he panicked and had to, but like the fact that he even gave his wide receiver a chance to make that play, the running, I mean, the patience and the time he takes to go through his progressions and be patient with his receivers and let the game come to him and not force the issue, but then the awareness that the play's not there and take off and run without bailing early. There's a lot of young quarterbacks that bail out before the intent of the play has even unfolded. And we didn't see that from Jackson Dart. And typically, when you have a quarterback running as much as we saw Jackson Dart run, it's because there was, 3 or 4 of those where perhaps he left a little early. We didn't see that. Jackson Dart, I felt like made the right decision on every single play tonight. Every single pass, every single run. I mean, every single ball placement. It was a perfect football game from Jackson Dart. It's almost unreal. But anyway, my point is this. You can't fake what we saw today from Jackson Dart. And if a quarterback shows you that he's capable of something like that, that's not something that just vanishes, right? If a quarterback has a game like this and then he strings together 10 games that look like what happened to the other guy? It's not like he suddenly lost his ability to play. Now, I'm ruling out quarterbacks that are aging. Like Manning fell off a cliff at the end of his year. Russell Wilson fell off a cliff. But if you're in your first 4 seasons and what happened to Daniel Jones in New York is happening and everyone's like, Daniel Jones sucks. It's like, wait a minute. We have YouTube highlights. Wait, I can go back and watch that Vikings game. And who is that? Who's that guy? What happened to him? You're telling me he's not in there? I'm sorry, but I refuse to believe that you can go out there and fake it for an entire game on the road and make perfect throws and win a game. And it's all bull. It's all fake. His best football's behind him. What are you talking about? He's 24 years old. So the same thing with Baker. It was like Baker Mayfield was balling out in Cleveland. Then he had that 1 year where he was injured and he was trying to play through it all year. And he wasn't putting his best football out because he was injured the entire year. And then Cleveland decides that they don't want to pay him and they move off of him. They send him to Carolina, so he's in a worse situation. And then once he's traded from Carolina to the Rams, it's like, yeah, Baker's done. He's a journeyman now. It's like, what are you talking about? He's a young guy that was he led Cleveland to the playoffs, a team that hadn't been to the playoffs my entire life. And he came out there and was slinging it with the best of them. I think people forget how good Baker Mayfield was with Cleveland for multiple years. And then he has one bad year and they throw him to the curb. And then same thing with the Panthers. And then everyone's like, yeah, that guy sucks now. It's like, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. And he doesn't, obviously. Now the whole world knows. But my big takeaway is if you see a quarterback perform at a high level, like we saw Jackson Dart, this was my reason I said before week 1 started that Bo Nix was our guy. I've gone through the quarterback carousel. I saw 15 different starting quarterbacks from Peyton Manning's retirement to Bo Nix. And Bo Nix, watching the preseason, I was like, I don't care that it's preseason. The guy went 9 for 9 for 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then they took him out for the second half. There was 3rd and 15s where he was able to thread the needle and pick up it's not like, he can, that's not going to translate. Once regular season kicks off, he's not going to be able to be a good quarterback anymore. I saw something that was like, whoa, this guy is different than all of those other quarterbacks. We haven't seen anything that looks like that since Peyton Manning, which at this point was over a decade ago. So it is exciting because the contrast is so obvious when you've been dealing with bad quarterbacks for a decade or mediocre quarterbacks for a decade. When somebody comes in and plays at a level, you notice right away. You don't have to wonder, oh, am I just getting excited again? You don't have to wonder. When you're asking yourself that question, am I just being optimistic? Is this hopium? If you're asking those questions, it is. You know what I mean? Because when you know. You know what I mean? It's there's no, oh yeah, but I kind of don't know. but I'm just kind of like, no. You can't make it up. I saw something I haven't seen in forever. We have a franchise quarterback. And today, I realized it. And for the rest of the world, especially people that maybe didn't watch the game, this is the way it's going to sound tomorrow. It's going to sound crazy. Yeah, Jackson Dart he's the future. They're like, yeah, they drafted that young guy. I hope it works out. And it's like, no. Like it did work out. Like we got one. We finally got one. And it's like, whoa, calm down. It's like, did you watch? Obviously not, because anybody that watched this tonight knows that Jackson Dart is the guy for the Giants for the foreseeable future. For the next 10 to 15 years, Jackson Dart is going to be with the Giants unless the Giants somehow screw him up in a terrible way, and then expect him to have a Daniel Jones resurgence with his next team. But as long as the Giants don't screw this up, they clearly have a guy right now. Just like when Patrick Mahomes, had his first full season in 2018, like we knew right away. We were like, oh yeah, that guy belongs. That guy's too good to be a backup, right? It's more than just a spark, right? Because there's always an initial spark when a quarterback goes down, or if you've lost 5 games and it's like, we're benching our quarterback, we need a change. And then this guy comes off the bench. Like usually that team wins their first game. You could call it the Pasternaut effect. Remember that craze, the Pasternaut 2 years ago, because he, was going to school for being an astronaut, and then where is he now? Like nobody knows even what team he's on. I think he's with the 49ers. I'm not sure. Yeah, because you get an initial spark. Same thing when you fire a head coach. You get an interim coach, team rallies around. It's kind of like week 1. Week 1 is the most wild card week. Like even the terrible teams, like I think the Patriots won 3 games last year, and one of them was beating the Bengals in Cincinnati. Because week 1, it's that spark. It's new. We can be anybody. If we win with this interim head coach, we can prove that, it was the coach, or all I needed was a quarterback to give me more targets and we would win. It's like a brand new life, and people will take advantage of it, but it wears out quickly, and there's bigger issues in the building. They come back. It's kind of like, when I was younger, I used to think, man, I just need a change. I just need my life is so messed up. I need a change. And I would move to Colorado, and then I would have the same issues in Colorado. And I'm like, wait a minute, I need to change, not my location. Me, I got to change. Like, so the spark that we see sometimes, like, this is not that. Jackson Dart looks like he's getting better every single week. But tonight was like nothing that even came close to the first 2 starts from Jackson Dart. He had a game against the Chargers, which he won, but it was an ugly game. Like I said, they were the fewest amount of passing yards of any team in that win, with 89 passing yards against the Chargers. And then last week, a couple turnovers. And then you saw Jackson Dart go to the podium and go, this one's on me. And they were like, wow, like, look at the way this kid handles himself. And he's like, people are, say what they say, about my age, but like, that doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm the quarterback of the Giants. Like, it's my responsibility. Like, he's got it. He's got the leadership, the likability, the juice, if you will. He's got it all in one package. It's a huge win for the Giants. especially being against the Eagles, because nobody can minimize it and say, oh, yeah, everybody has a good game against the Cowboys, right? If it would have been a different divisional rival, people might have been like, everybody has a good game against blank. But this was really just the Giants beating the Eagles in every phase. I mean, you got to think, Vic Fangio is one of the best defensive coordinators in the game, period. And whenever a defensive coordinator like a Vic Fangio or a Mike Tomlin or Mike McDonald for Seattle, like Bill Belichick was the best at going up against rookie quarterbacks. When these kind of coaches go up against rookie QBs, there's a reason why their record is like 103, because they just haven't seen anything like it, right? That the rookie quarterback goes out there and it's like they're disguising things and they're being they're being ambiguous and they're being confusing on purpose. Even more than so, like a regular week, they're going above and beyond to make sure that you are having a really difficult time as a young quarterback. And man, I got to say, like, Jackson Dart made Vic Fangio look stupid today. It didn't matter what he did or what he dialed up. Man, what a win for the New York Giants. What a win. I wish Bill was here to see it. I really do, because he would be loving this right now. This Jackson Dart. Incredible win. I don't know where it's weird because the Eagles were 0-3. Right? They lost their first 3 games. Now Jackson Dart has 2 wins, one against the Eagles and one against the Chargers. Both of those have an asterisk next, because for the Eagles, they're going to go, oh, well, they lost to Denver last week, so the Eagles have been just a struggling team. They are a struggling team, but the Eagles have managed to be 4-0, which means that they have a ton of talent on that team. They have a lot of things that are confusing right now and some things that need tweaking and adjusting. But this team won the Super Bowl 10 months ago. So we have to keep in mind, or 8 months ago. So we have to keep in mind that there's still a ton of talent on this team. This was still a really good win for the Giants, for the Broncos last week. And then for the Chargers, they're going to say the same thing. Well, yeah, the Chargers are just struggling right now. They've lost 2 in a row. They lost to the Commanders, and it's like the Commanders with Jaden Daniels, they went to the NFC Championship game. I mean, that was the second best team in the NFC last year. The Giants beat the Chargers, and the Chargers losing to the Commanders is like, it's weird. Ever since then, people are like, the Chargers, they are having so many issues. And it's true, they are having issues, but it's not like they lost to, Cincinnati. They lost to the Commanders. Like, I don't know. Like, when did the Commanders get thrown in the how could you lose to them category? But the Giants, so I do think that their win against the Chargers is meaningful. That's all I'm trying to say. But some people out there are going to go, yeah, the Eagles and the Chargers, they faced them both when they, started sucking. But it doesn't matter what people say. It matters what happened. And the Giants pulled away from the Eagles in this game. They shut out the Eagles in the second half. The Eagles didn't score a point in the second half. That's incredible. The Giants, this was an Eagles team that was trying to mount a comeback, and they couldn't get a point in either quarter. Jackson Dart, 17 for 25, 195 yards and a touchdown. It felt like a lot more, but that's because they ran for 172 yards. See, when you run the football, like when you're able to run the football for 172 yards, look how much that helps your quarterback out. Jackson Dart looked amazing tonight, and he didn't even throw for 200 yards. That's hilarious because it felt like so much more, but that's because you had him running 13 times for 58 yards. He had a 20-yard run in this game. Scatabo had 19 carries for 98 yards and 3 touchdowns along of 18. Wan'Dale Robinson was his favorite receiver, with Malik Neighbors being gone. He had 7 targets, caught 6 of them for 84 yards and a touchdown. Lil Jordan Humphrey elevated, I believe, from the practice squad. 8 targets, caught 4 of them, 55 yards. Theo Johnson, 4 targets, 2 catches. Cam Scatabo, only 2 receptions. Thought he might have more. He had over 5 in 2 of his last 3 games, but not in this game. He didn't really have that many catches. And same thing with Barkley. He had 2 catches for 9 yards. Scatabo had 2 for 12. But defensively, just a bad day at the office for the Philadelphia Eagles. And if you look at their defense or their rushing defense, their opponents, NFL team opponent rushing attempts per game. So, like, this is basically a list of, like, which teams, like, okay, the Broncos are number 1, meaning their opponents run the football more than any other team in the NFL. Okay? So why is that? Why is Denver number 1? Why are their opponents rushing the football 21.4 times in a game? To slow down the pass rush. That's the easy answer, right? If you can run the football, then you can slow down the pass rush. So the teams that are, the best pass rush in the NFL, which is Denver, you're going to get teams, and that's going to be their game plan. We're going to just run the shit out of the football. I'm wondering where Philly is. 22nd. Philly's 22nd NFL team opponent rushing attempts per game. Oh, so that's the fewest rushing attempts per game. And so that's the opposite of what I thought. So why would teams rush it at the least amount against us with Patrick Surtain? Oh, because they can't. That's it. They can't run the football. So they just don't. I got to believe that's what it is, because last week we saw the Eagles and Barkley. He had 5 carries the whole game. He had like 2 carries in the second half. But he wasn't hurt. You know what I mean? Like, isn't that weird? Like, he had 12 carries today. And that might even be on the low side for him. So, I guess if you're a really good defense, teams just don't try to run it against you. Now let's go before Denver. Let's see what the Eagles did against Tampa. Box score wise, Barkley. Yeah, he had 19 carries against Tampa Bay. 19 carries. That's pretty good. What about the Rams game where they came back and won? Probably not that many because, they had to mount a comeback. 18 carries. 18 carries. Wow. You see, there's a common theme. 19 carries against Tampa. They won. 18 carries against the Rams. They won. The Chiefs, 20-17 victory. Barkley, 22 carries. They won. Dallas, week 1. 24-20. They won. Barkley, 18 carries. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot more, but if you just want one huge thing to to come away from this, if you're going, why are the Eagles losing now? Well, because last week, when they were undefeated going into the Denver game, they ran Barkley either 18, 19, or 21 times. 20, 21. That's how many carries Barkley had in the 4 wins. Last week against Denver, 6 carries. 6. Now, is it a coincidence that as soon as A.J. Brown goes into the locker room and putting out cryptic tweets about not getting used enough, the Eagles did? I mean, look, if you're a new coordinator and there's national story being written about your players being disgruntled and angry, you have to have the confidence to be like, we have an identity. We're not steering from that to please people. You know, that's what happened in Buffalo, and look how much better we got as soon as we didn't have to force feed anybody. Stephon Diggs, I'm sorry, but as soon as he left, the Buffalo offense was running way smoother. It doesn't matter who gets it, the targets, the catches. There is a selflessness about that team, and that's why they're number one. They're the number 1 rushing team in the NFL. They run, They run 22 personnel, more than any team in the NFL. The 2 wide receivers, 21 personnel, which is the I formation. Like these like very old school, where the fullback's in the game, these like old school formations, but they throw it in these formations more than any team in the NFL. So they're not predictable. They look like this is a boring run play. And then all of a sudden Josh Allen's throwing it. But they can get away with doing this and throwing it to, Knox or Kincaid or whoever, because they don't have a superstar with an ego that they have to be like, oh, all right, we got 5 design plays going to you. That's not how it is. And the thing about the Eagles, man, is when they stopped running the football, they started losing the football games. I mean, that is so obvious when you look at the box score. Why did they stop running it last week? Why did they only run it 12 times this week? Well, they got behind in the game, and I'm sure that's part of it. But does this offensive coordinator, who I'm blanking on his name right now, I've heard his name like 100 times the last couple of days, does he have the confidence in himself to not be swayed by, the rising emotion from, A.J. Brown and from the fans? And why does A.J. Brown only have 9 yards in 2 games? Is that affecting him? Because ever since that happened, Barkley has less rushing attempts in the last 2 games combined than he has in any one game of their 4 wins. And that, I think, should be a major takeaway from whatever's going on with the Eagles right now. Like, if you're 4-0, you shouldn't have to figure out how to. Now, mind you, they were 4-0 and they were bad at everything, running and passing. But at least they were winning games. You can't even say that about them anymore. But you know what? A.J. Brown's got the yards you wanted him to get. You know what I mean? Like, where are the priorities at? You finally got A.J. Brown involved? Great. At the cost of your identity being gone? You're a boring running team. You won the Super Bowl that way. Like, that is the reminder for the world. Like, they were the 30th ranked passing offense last year. They're exactly the same this year. Nothing's changed. Nothing. The only difference is they suck at running the football now. And they were the best in the NFL outside of the Lions. The Ravens last year. So that's it. Like, I'm sorry that people are confused about this, but it's like, no, it just feels more frustrating because now you're doing you're doing poorly in 2 categories. Last year, you were only bad in 1. And now you have decided to give up the 1 category that you were good at and double down in the thing that you're not good at. And look, here's the results. You lose. You don't win that way. It's not who you are. And if it was something that's like, well, we got to find a way to be that, it's like, no, you don't. You really don't. Because what? Because it's not fun? Like, who cares? You know what's fun? Hosting a Lombardi trophy over your head at the end of the year. And last time I checked, that's how that season ended. And at no point were the Eagles a crazy good passing offense. There's only 2 teams worse. So I think for the Eagles, like, they're going to have to go back. The offensive coordinator is going to, I don't like the way he's responded to the A.J. Brown thing. They're going to need to go back to what they do well. They're going to need to figure out how to do what they did extremely well last year, how to do it extremely well again, because they're not even doing it that great. You know, like I said, they were 15th in rushing yards per game this year. That's a big fall. Now, the offensive line is pretty much the same. I think you have Lane Johnson that's aging, but outside of that, like, the fall off shouldn't be what we're seeing, right? This is something that needs to be studied. And is it the design? Is it the way we're running it? Call Kellen Moore. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, and that's why I always said, like, Kellen Moore is such an underrated offensive play caller. And same with Liam Cohen. Like, there's not a bunch of new players on the Jaguars this year. I mean, they rebuilt their offensive line, but like ETN was there last year and they were terrible at running. Now they're 4th in the NFL or 3rd. Yeah, I mean, being a good running team is being very unpredictable. We're running inside. It's a pitch. It's a fake pitch and, you know, a handoff. It's a pass. No, it's a draw. Like, there's a lot of ways that you can run the football. And I think a lot of times people just assume, like, running the football has to be like this boring thing where you line up under center and just hand it off, you know, and just run it up the guard. Running can be very creative. Look at the way Kansas City runs the football. There was a play on Monday night where I think Patrick Mahomes was dizzy after. It was, oh, I'm faking the pitch. No, I'm not. I'm rolling this way. No, I'm not. I'm spinning back that way. And I'm pitching it to Xavier Worthy. Like, you know, you can get creative with it. But the Eagles need to realize we're a running team. We need to figure out how to design our runs so that we can have some of the success we had last year. We need to go back and watch the film, figure out what were we doing that set up the run. And I'm going through the same thing with the Broncos. Like, we're the 4th best rushing team in the NFL statistically. I'm not buying it because I watched this team. And when they go out there and go, we're going to run the football down your throat and you're going to have to stop us. Like, a lot of times we can't. We get 2 yards, we get 3 yards, but we don't have a ton of success. And then all of a sudden, later in the game, we have like a 50-yard run, like the one we had by R.J. Harvey. And then all of a sudden, the numbers go, you know, from 70 yards to 134. And it's like, oh, Denver ran the ball for 160 yards. It's like, it didn't feel like it if you watched the game. You know what I mean? 1 second. It didn't feel like it when you watched the game. And I think when you're running it and you're getting 2 yards, 1 yard, and you're trying to stick with it, but it feels like you're just sticking with it for the sake of sticking with it. And then you end up in 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8 because you lose 2 yards and then you run it again. And it's like, maybe we should stop running it, It gets tough to continue to run the football in those circumstances. But if you can get creative with it, start pulling your guards. All right. Try to get those pitches to the outside. If the interior is not working, try something else. Like, you don't have to run it the same way. But I talked about the margin of winning and losing and how small it is. All right. I went back and watched the Broncos-Eagles game last week. Like, their first drive, J.K. Dobbins had 3 yards. Then it was 2nd and 7, and they pitched it to J.K. Dobbins. He had 3 yards. Then it was 3rd and 4, and Bo Nix throws it to Courtland Sutton, a perfect pass right over the shoulder. He drops it in and out of his hands, and now we're punting. And it's like, that sucks. A 3rd and 4, perfect pass, and it's dropped, and now it's over. Then the Eagles get the ball. Okay, they end up giving it back to us. Okay, second drive, we hand it off to Marvin Mims for 9 yards. There we go. That's a successful run, but that's not your typical run. That was like a wide receiver end around type of run, getting creative. Then it's 2nd and 1 because of the 9-yard gain. And guess what? RJ Harvey picks up 3, first down. Marvin Mims, quick curl route. Awesome. Gain of 4. See, we're moving the football. Things are going good. 2nd and 6. Nate Atkins drops it on 2nd down. Nate Atkins drops it on 2nd down. Now, this would have brought up a 3rd and short, or he would have outright converted the first down. But because of the drop, it's 3rd and 6 now. And we still converted on this drive, a throw to Courtland Sutton. It was actually Eagles blitzed, and the blitz was picked up really nice by Tyler Bidet, and he gets the ball to Sutton for the first down. But that could have easily been a situation where, ball gets batted down, and it's like the drive is over again because of a drop. But instead, they're able to overcome, make a good play, pick up the first down, and now it's first down, and it's a 1-yard run by J.K. Dobbins. Okay, now it's 2nd and 9. J.K. Dobbins, 3-yard run. Okay, we're back to 3rd and 6 again. We go back to Sutton and picked up 4 yards. So it's 4th and 2, and we're not quite in field goal range, but we want to be aggressive. We're on the road. It's 0-0. Let's go for it. Why not? Go up there, hard count, Eagles jump off sides. We lined up to do a tush push, the Eagles jump, Jalen Carter. Okay, so then it's a first down. And now it's like, all right, we're gonna get some points. Could be 3, could be 7. 4th, and then all of a sudden, first down, RJ Harvey loses 1 yard. Okay, that sucks. 2nd down, Nix gets strip sack, but it's the tuck rule because he was in the motion of throwing. So it ends up being ruled incomplete, and it's 3rd down. Then on 3rd down, he misses. Marvin Mims was underneath. I think he should have gone there. He tried to get the ball downfield to Ingram, and it was incomplete. So now they have to kick a field goal. But look at this. Now, there's people saying that Nix just turned it on in the 4th quarter. Out of all of these plays, there was only one play that Bo Nix made the wrong decision. It was the 3rd down where he tried to get it to Ingram, and he should have gone underneath to Marvin Mims. But that's it. Now the first quarter's over. And there's really what did Nix didn't do anything wrong besides that one throw. But I mean, that's one negative play. He missed Mims on third down. The Broncos offense as a whole, they had 2 drops on their first 2 possessions. Sutton's ended the opening drive, and the other one, they were able to overcome. But it's like the margin of error is one play. Like you drop a third down. Honestly, it's pretty crazy because there was a play in this game that I was watching. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. There was like a penalty. Let me see if I can find it. Third possession, 20 yards of Troy Franklin on first down. Quick throw to Dobbins. 2nd and 5. Dobbins picks up 10. First down, they pick up 7, and it happens. Okay, so look, this is their third possession, so still no touchdown. Okay, they only have 3 points, yet they're moving the ball so well. It's like, why can't we get touchdowns on the board? So they come out on the third possession, a 20-yard pass to Troy Franklin on first down. That's a great start. Quick throw to J.K. Dobbins for 5. 2nd and 5, Dobbins picks up 10. And now it's like we're really cooking, okay? The Eagles don't know what to do. Are they playing the run, the pass? They're on their heels. We're going tempo. 1st and 10, we pick up 7 yards. Boom. What is that? Then it happens. Tight end and wide receiver lined up on the same side of the ball. So there's 8 on the line. We get an illegal formation. In that 7-yard gain on first down, which was 2nd and 3, now turns into a 2nd and 8. On 2nd and 8, Sherfield, a touch overthrown, and now it's 3rd and 8. And then on 3rd and 8, we get a loss of 13 because Bo Nix gets sacked. We were on the 35-yard line. Now we can't even kick a field goal. The margin of error is a play. 42 yards in 4 plays. Denver got 42 yards in 4 plays before the illegal formation penalty. That's 10.5 yards per play before the penalty. After the penalty, they lost 13 yards in 2 plays. 3rd and 17. Now, this is what led to the Eagles' touchdown. We have Riley Moss playing man-to-man on Devontae Smith. That should never happen on 3rd and 17. Why would anybody be playing man on 3rd and 17? They got called for a hold on the kickoff after Harvey took it out of the 30. 4th possession, 19-yard line is where they started. First down, 15 yards of Sherfield on a hook route. Then R.J. Harvey picks up 6 yards on a completion. 2nd and 6, we get a penalty. So we had 21 yards in 2 plays on our 4th series. 21 yards in 2 plays, and we get a false start. So now it's not 2nd and 4. Now it's 2nd and 9. We do a shotgun run for 1 yard, and it's 3rd and 8. And Denver just didn't have anyone open on 3rd and 8. Pocket was collapsing before the receivers even broke on their routes. So we have 2 drives where we stall because of penalties in the first 4, and 1 that ended because of a drop. And it's like, it's about to be halftime. So there was nothing that Nix did like, the 4th quarter, and he drank Michael's secret stuff on the sideline. No, they just stopped committing penalties. They started catching those balls that they were dropping, and they were unstoppable. You scored 18 points in the 4th quarter because you just stopped beating yourself. The Eagles did nothing defensively that was keeping us from scoring. We kept hurting ourselves over and over, and it's frustrating to watch because you're like, Denver has like 200 total yards of offense and 3 points. How is that even possible? We had 2 incomplete passes where Nix was hit and the ball didn't go forward. We had 2 drops from Sutton or JK. We had 1 bad throw to Ingram. Jahade Barron had a big hit in this game. Dotson couldn't keep his foot in on the deep ball. Riley Moss might be the unluckiest guy this year. I know he gets a ton of targets, but how many times has he been blanket covering someone, and that receiver makes an unreal play? And we saw this on a touchdown versus the Chargers. I think it was Keenan Allen. So Denver's fifth drive, and it's first down. Nix held the ball instead of getting it to his back. He could have picked up 6 yards. 2nd and 10, we get a screen to Batty for 12 yards. 1st and 10, 2-minute warning. Love what I'm seeing from Batty in this game. I think he earned more time. 1st and 10, Franklin, 5 yards on a screen. 21 points in the last 2 minutes of the first half. That's third best in the NFL. So Denver had scored 21 points in the 2-minute offense. Third best in the NFL. 2nd and 5, Nix threw behind Batty. 3rd and 5, Nix threw a deep shot, and there was nobody around. Franklin got tangled up and fell with Ringo, so they had to punt it. Zach Allen on 3rd and 6 gets a big hit. Denver keeps their timeout, and they actually get the ball back. 6th drive, Ingram completion, loses 3. 2nd and 13, Sutton can't grab it against Mitchell, just drops it. 3rd and 13, deep ball to Mims, and they throw a pass interference. This is a huge play. It's going to put us at the 10-yard line. The refs pick it up, and we go to half. That's how the first half went. There's not many plays in here that are just Denver's offense. Like, what are you doing? There's really not. There's just penalties and drops, self-inflicted wounds. Like, they should have had 13 to 17 points in that first half, and they had 3. And then it was very similar. It was very similar. The first drive of the second half, they brought in Pelcheski, so they brought in an extra lineman, and that helped. Loss of 2 to J.K. Harvey catches it out of the backfield for 11. They do a tush push on 3rd and 1. First down, false start, Mike McGlinchey. We just came out in the second half and started moving the football. We pick up our first down and false start. Like, what? Why can't we just stop doing it? It's infuriating. 1st and 15, Nix takes off and jukes his best scramble maybe of his career. Picks up 14 yards. Insane. Amazing. 2nd and 1, fullback dive for 6. First down, J.K. Dobbins for 15. First down, gain of 3. 2nd and 7, blitz comes and Bo gets called for intentional grounding. Penalty. Loss of 13. Need about 10 yards for a field goal. 3rd and 21, they only pick up 6. And now they have to punt it. And it's like, oh my gosh, another promising drive that somehow is resulting in a punt because of a penalty, intentional grounding. Hufanga had a really good safety blitz that was perfectly timed, perfectly executed. And then a big stop from Surtain where he batted down a slant route on A.J. Brown. And then Denver had their second drive of the second half. And it's still, at this point, Denver only has 3 points still. Second drive of the second half, Nix runs for 6. Dobbins runs for 1. 3rd and 2, Bo just can't hit the running back. He threw it outside, trying to keep it away from the corner, jumping it. And the running back can't come down with it. So now it's 4th and 2, and Denver's like, we have to punt. And it's like, oh my God. Are we even going to come back in this game? Like that, the offense must be feeling that way. Like and it's funny because at this point, like that they only had one other 3 and out. Like it wasn't like they kept getting 3 and outs. No, they kept moving the ball and then they would get a penalty and it would stop the drive. But the penalty would come after like 3 or 2 first downs, usually around 30 to 35 yards, 40 yards of offense. Then it would stop. So even though that they only had 3 points, it was like you felt like, yeah, they're still in. Like and that's why you can't go off just the score, because if you were just going off the score, I could see why the odds were 1,700 for Denver to win, because it's like, wow, they can't even score. But if you were actually watching the game, you're like, their offense, if they just don't get called for penalties, they're going to move all the way down and score. And that was, the only if at that moment in the game, because they hadn't done it yet. Every single drive had a penalty that ended it, besides that 3 and out and the very first one of the game that ended because of a drop by Sutton. So then Nick Bonita comes in clutch, gets a sack after Hufanga blitzes and almost gets a pick six. Our defense is flying around, giving us second chances, third chances, fourth chances. And then first down, we fake it to J.K. Dobbins, throw it to Ingram for 7 yards. Dobbins pitches, gains 5. Nix rolls out. Mims drops the ball a little low. 2nd and 7, we pitch it to Harvey for 5. 3rd and 2, Cortland Sutton, curl, first down. First down to Sutton, gains 3, very hard catch. Denver's first time trailing in the fourth quarter. This season, fourth quarter begins. 2nd and 5, Dobbins runs it for 15 yards. First down for Nix and 11-yard pass to Troy Franklin. Dobbins for a 4-yard run, gains of 4, pass interference, first down, run to Dobbins, touchdown. That whole thing, like, what would it look like if we didn't get a penalty? There it is. Right when the fourth quarter started, Denver, for the first time, went out and didn't commit any penalties. And this is why I say, when you're a team that's like trying to run the ball, you're like forcing it and it's just not working, you gotta start thinking like, okay, well, how can we get them to not load the box? We'll throw it on them. You guys want to play the run? We're going to throw it until you respect our passing game, and then we'll run it. Like, I feel like a lot of times people think if you're going to be a running football team where running's your identity, you have to run it on first and second down. And I just think that that's not the case. I think it's the opposite. I think it's better to throw it on first down. Second down's a true wild card, right? But throw it on first down. Throw it on second down. Throw it on third down. Throw it on first down. Run it on second down. Throw it on first down. Run it on first down. Run it on second down. Right? Because it's like, oh, okay, they're going to throw it 3 times in a row, then pick up the first down. Then they're definitely going to run it on first down because they just threw it 3 times in a row. You just have to be so unpredictable that it makes no sense. Like this whole, like, we got to run it on first and second down every time. I don't like it because we couldn't run the football at all until we were successful passing. I mean, we threw it to Ingram on first down for 7 yards. Then we pitched it to Dobbins for 5. Like with 2nd and 7, we pitched it to RJ Harvey for 5. 3rd and 2, we threw it to Sutton. First down, we threw it to Sutton. So now we're throwing it on first down. And because of that, Philly doesn't know what kind of defense to get into. And then we started running the football extremely well. That's what won the game, is like we started running the football and they couldn't do anything about it. Just like the Giants did in the fourth quarter, right? The Eagles needed to stop, and the Giants just ran the football down the field, and they had no answer for it because the Giants were not afraid to pass the football, and they were throwing it. You had to respect their passing game. They were not one-dimensional. They had Vic Fangio guessing all night, and then when they lined up to run the ball, and Philly played the run, they did it anyway. And I feel like that's when you can really do that. When you really impose your will, is like late in the game, they don't know if you're going to pass it or you're going to run it. So they're running around. It feels like the defense is chasing you. And then by the time you line up, and it's like, I don't care that you know what we're doing. The defense is so tired. They're so gassed that the offense just starts bullying them. But when the defense is well rested and it's very predictable and you're going to run an inside run on first down, like, yeah, a lot of times you're only going to pick up 1 or 2 yards on that. And I think that's kind of the key is like, because everyone's looking at it and they're going, Denver's 4th in rushing yards per game. So we're a running football team. So we should be running it on first down every time. It's like, no. If you look at like the rate of success on our runs, we're having the most success when we've passed prior to run. And that's why those passing plays that are an extension of the running game are so important for us, because it allows us to have, those 2, 3, 4 yard gains while, making the defense have to respect our passing game. But then, they get that touchdown right there because there's no penalties. That's pretty much the reason. Then it was 10-17, 64 yards. Longest play on that drive was only 14 yards, though. No big chunk play, right? Just 14 yards, 10 yards, 9 yards, 5 yards. And that's the thing. Like, that's what was happening the whole game. That's why I made a note of this, was because there was nothing on this drive that was different. Because everyone's saying, oh, Nick's flipped a switch in the fourth quarter. He didn't. The offense looked exactly the same. There was just no costly penalty on this drive. And that's how it ended. 14 yards. That was the longest play of that drive. Holding 1st and 20, Philly gets backed up. Barkley only 5 carries at that point in the game. Denver down 7. Big time catch by Ingram for 12 yards. First down, they throw it to Ingram. Sets up first down. Well, first down, they throw it to Sutton. First down. So see what I mean? Like, first down, throw. First down. First down, throw. First down. Now, first down, Philly plays the run. Denver pitches it. Because Philly's like, look, you just passed it twice in a row on first down. We think you're going to probably run it here. And Denver does an outside run. And it was an amazing run. It was a gain of 5. It looked like it could have been a loss of 5, but R.J. Harvey able to get that corner. And it looked like it was a first down, but they said he stepped out, so it was only a gain of 5. But they were having a lot of success going outside. I wanted to see more of that. 2nd and 5, J.K. Dobbins runs it, gain of 0. They ran a fire blitz. 3rd and 5, Ingram, gain of 4. But they call offensive pass interference, and it wasn't a pick. It was accidental contact. Gene, the rules guy, agreed. Tony agreed. This was a missed call by the officials. This was accidental contact. But anyway, now it's 3rd and 15. And what's really cool is, like, that should have been a drive killer. Because once again, we're going from, 4th and 1 to 3rd and 15. 3rd and 15, and Nix, with the throw of the game, threads it. He throws this ball to Sutton before Sutton even comes out of his break. 34-yard completion, and then Ingram scores a touchdown on the next play. And one thing about Sean Payton, he is not afraid to go for it. Goes for 2, takes the lead. And this is funny because the Eagles get the ball back, and it's like they really have to be aggressive, right? Yeah, they get the ball back. On 4th and 4, they take a deep shot. It's complete, but there's a flag on the field because of an illegal shift by Philly. So now they have to punt instead of having a 40-yard gain and being inside the red zone. And I put this was a technicality that saved us here. Honestly, this was a huge, huge thing for us. It's not like the illegal shift was a get-right call. I felt like the officiating was pretty even. There was some, questionable calls on both sides up to this point. I think it was just purely lucky, not even the pendulum swinging back our way or anything like that. We saw Riley Moss get beat 3 times down the field, And one of them, his foot happened to be out. One of them was caught. And then one of them got called back. So I think there was actually 4 times Riley got beat. So I am worried about that a little bit. And then, ultimately that penalty forced Philly to punt it. And we would score on that next drive, which was kind of the nail in the coffin. But yeah, I mean, it's the same thing for Philly. Like I just said, like that penalty cost Philly the game. I don't think you can understate how important penalties are in terms of not having them. And just like how many times do we see it's 3rd and 3? We saw tonight 3rd and 3, delay a game. Now it's 3rd and 8. And it's like, oh my God, we can't have that. I mean, some of the teams that are doing a really good job, Pittsburgh leads the NFL in, committing the fewest amount of penalties. But Denver's 30th with 8.6. There's only 2 teams worse, Green Bay and Minnesota. And those are all really well-coached teams, Green Bay, Minnesota, and Denver. So those, like, there's multiple games where it's like, man, if Denver doesn't, like, if there's no leverage penalty against the Colts, they win that game. Right? Now we're talking about a team that is, 4-1, and then their only loss at that point would be against the Chargers. And there was a penalty that gave the Chargers the win on their final scoring drive. There was an unnecessary roughness on Hufanga, which kept them in the ball game. But Denver was leading the entire 4th quarter until there was 0 seconds left on the clock. There was 0 seconds left on the clock, but unfortunately, the ball was in the air, and it went through the upright. And for the first time in the 4th quarter, Denver was losing. And that would be our only loss. This team could easily be 5-0 coming off of an Eagles victory. But they're not. And I don't think, I think if they were 5-0, I think it would be kind of like the Eagles, where it's like they have some problems. You know what I mean? Like they're not like a juggernaut yet. They make a lot of penalty mistakes. But the thing is like whenever you have a team that, like, we're that close to being undefeated, yet we have so much room for improvement. That's crazy. Like, to me, like, those are the teams that are Super Bowl contenders. There's certain teams that are just, their coaches are getting the most out of them right now. I think Pittsburgh's one of them. I think Pittsburgh right now, I feel like they're getting the most out of Aaron Rodgers. They're playing, they're not making a lot of mental mistakes. They're not turning the ball over. They're not committing penalties, the fewest amount of penalties per game in the NFL. And it's like, yeah, they're leading their division because of the way they're playing. But there's other teams like the Philadelphia Eagles, like the Denver Broncos, that are winning, and like they could be undefeated, but they're not. I mean, until today, like Denver doesn't have a single loss that looks anything like what happened to the Eagles today. But before that, like Denver and the Eagles to me were very similar. It was like the Eagles have a ton of improving that they need to do, yet their record is respectable and they're able to overcome a lot of it in the end. Like the Indianapolis Colts, a lot of people are waiting for the shoe to drop, and I'm like, the Colts are one of the best teams in the league. They might be the best team in the NFL right now. Like, straight up. They're second in scoring. This is a team getting 32 points per game, 32.6. When you look at the rushing defense, the Colts are 12th, almost top 10 rushing defense. If you just look at total defense, opponent yards per game, the Colts are 14th. But here's what's most important, right? Scoring defense, opponent points per game. Indianapolis is 3rd. Houston, Denver, Indianapolis. Houston's giving up 12.2 points per game. This is ridiculous. They've given up an average of 9 points in their last 3 games. That's insane. That's actually crazy. Denver, 16.8 points are given up. The Colts are only giving up 17.8 points. So they have the 3rd best defense. And you pair that with their offense, and yet, like, the Broncos, like, almost had to choke to lose to the Colts. Like, that's the upside of the Broncos. Like, I felt like a lot of people felt like the Colts played their best game and the Broncos played their worst game. And I know, like, Ginger would probably disagree with that. But at the end of the day, like, that game came down to one kick. And one fan base was celebrating, and the other fan base was like, we are in a crisis. And we have some serious problems we need to fix. And yet, if there's no leverage, everyone thinks we're great. Even though we gave up more rushing yards to Jonathan Taylor than we had in, over a year, since 2023. So I think sometimes it takes a leverage call for you to go, no, we do have problems. Because if the leverage call doesn't get kicked, then we're undefeated, and who cares? Like, we're good enough to overcome our problems until you're not. And that's exactly what Jared Goff was saying in the quarterback series when they were trying to be undefeated. And then they lost, I think it was week 15. And he was like, yeah, I it's like you make mistakes, but, as long as you're undefeated, you're able to be like, yeah, we were able to overcome. And he goes, but it's really humbling when it's like you go back after a loss and you look at the same mistakes and you're like, yeah, that one cost us the game. You look at your mistakes a lot different when the outcome is a loss and not a W. So I'm thankful for our loss against the Colts and the Chargers because we didn't have some phony expectation of like how good we are when we played bad against the Colts and we choked against the Chargers and we cleaned it up, and we have a lot of cleaning up to do. Beat the shit out of a Cincinnati team that means nothing, but it's good vibes, and that's exactly what a really good team should do to that. And then the week after that, we beat an Eagles team that I felt like was a very phony, undefeated team. I still feel like that was the most significant win in the last 10 years, maybe. But by no means am I like, well, that is it. We are a polished product. No. And as you can see from today, the Eagles have a lot of work to do as well. So we shouldn't be comparing. They call it a measuring stick game. Now, I'm at the point with my team that I think we shouldn't be measuring ourselves to any of these teams. That's how good I think we have the potential to be. Because if we use the metrics of the NFL, they say that Colts are the second best team in the NFL right now. So that would be a measuring stick game? What are you talking about? We played one of our worst games against them, and we almost beat them. We can't measure ourselves to that. The Eagles is a measuring stick game. We played mistake football, penalties for 3 quarters, and we still were able to beat them. I don't think we should be measuring ourselves to that team. It's a weird year, man. I don't think that there's any team that – Buffalo is the one AFC team But I don't think there's like a juggernaut this year. Like there's usually you got like the Ravens and the Bengals with Joe Burrow, and it's like this year it's just kind of strange. Like Baltimore and the Chiefs are, what 1-4? Like they're like all these teams are struggling massively, and then you got this like other tier that's like not great yet, but they're like, and if we just keep getting better every single week, brick by brick, play by play, week by week, talking to Jacksonville, talking to Denver, talking to Pittsburgh, talking to Houston, like maybe this isn't the type of year we should waste, as an AFC team. Like maybe this is the kind of year where a team like Denver that can get better every single week, and actually, God, if this team even comes close to what they're capable of being, they are a Super Bowl team, period. If they can just play how they did in the fourth quarter of that game, which they did nothing different play calling wise. All it was they stopped committing penalties and they stopped dropping the ball. The defense has been the same all game. If they can do that for 4 quarters, which we have yet to see, and then do that week by week by week and not lead the NFL in penalties, then we're talking about a team that I'm like, I'll take my team over any AFC team. I mean, I just saw Buffalo lose to New England. I'm nothing against New England. I had New England winning that game, but it's when there's no measuring stick team. It's kind of like as a young man, that grows up in a single mother home, it's like, I've been realizing I've been looking for like a man my whole life. And now I realize that I'm the man I've been looking for my whole life. Denver needs to realize that there's not a team out there that they should be measuring themselves to this year. They're the team that other teams should be measuring themselves to us. And we should be measuring ourselves to ourselves. But that's all I got for you guys here tonight. Thank you for joining me on this fun football recap. I'm super pumped about the future. New York Jets, playing them next week. Actually, fun fact, Denver and the New York Jets are actually almost neck and neck, 18th and 19th in points per game. The Broncos are 23.4. The Jets are 22.4. But then in, of course, points allowed or yards allowed per game, the Jets are 29th or 22nd, giving up 347 yards per game. Denver's giving up 288, so we should be able to handle that one. But thank you guys for watching, man. It was a good one. I'm excited to see what the future looks like. Jackson Dart looks like he's going to be the future quarterback. Back to the drawing board for the Philadelphia Eagles, but I'm sure they're going to figure it out. All they got to do is realize that they just lost 2 in a row, and for the first time for 2 weeks in a row, Saquon Barkley had less than 18 carries. Maybe go back to the thing that you did better than 31 other teams last year and run the football, because your passing game is exactly where it was last year, 30th in the NFL, just like last year. The only difference is last year you didn't try to pass the ball and give Barkley 5 carries. Very strange identity crisis. You can tell when a team's going through an identity crisis. And weeks 1 through 4 are solely about finding your identity. And I think a lot of people assume that, that's the Eagles' same team. It's going to be the same thing. No. Every single year, you have to find your identity. It changes. Little things. Personnel, roster turnover typically has 40 to 45% turnover. It's a new team every year. in weeks 1 through 4 is all about finding your identity. And the teams that are struggling, the teams that are going to potentially miss the playoffs, are the teams that go into October and they still haven't answered that question. Like Miami. What is Miami? What do they do well? The only thing that we know about them is they have fast receivers, and one of them's gone. But, like, there's no real identity to them. The teams that get to, like, we know about the Giants, they're going to be a running football team. That's their identity. They're going to run it for 140, 150 yards a game. And Jackson Dart's going to get 50 of those. And they may run to 170. I mean, that's their identity. And then they're going to have to play the run so hard, and then Jackson Dart's going to pull it back and beat you with his arm. Like, the Giants have an identity. We saw it. The Broncos have a real identity. What are the Chargers right now? What are the Chiefs? I think the Chiefs with Xavier Worthy back look like they have an identity. Almost. The Jaguars, they look like a team with an identity. I think the Chiefs and the Jags are very, very neck and neck. But, like, you might say, like, what do you mean neck and neck? The Jags have an identity. They're four. Let me give you the contrast. The Detroit Lions. That's a team with an identity. Not a team looking, not a team searching, not an almost there. That's what a team that has no ifs, ands, or buts about it type of identity looks like. That's why they're beating all their opponents by 16, 17 points, is because when a team that knows who they are goes up against a team trying to figure it out, it's usually a blowout. And I think that's what's weird about this year is there's an abnormal amount of teams trying to figure out what their identity is in October. I think Tampa Bay knows what they're about. Buffalo's got an identity. I mean, Buffalo and Detroit, I feel the same about. San Francisco, they kind of have an identity, but they've gone through so many injuries and different quarterbacks that it's kind of hard for them to get into have any continuity week to week. Arizona doesn't have an identity. Tennessee. Chicago's identity is that they're not running the football well. So I don't know, is that their identity, that they're one-dimensional? Or are they going to continue to try to run the football and fail at it? That's a team trying to find an identity. In Dallas, their identity is they got to score 50 points to win. But good stuff, man. I'm loving the NFL this year. If you guys are new here, hit the like button. If you enjoyed it, hit the sub button if you want to stick around. And I put out videos almost every day, fantasy football, betting, picks, predictions, all of the above. Love to have you guys back in here. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys on the flip side wait, what does Jack Black say in School of Rock? I will see you guys on the flip flop later.